Hey friends, it's Wayne Wallace, your friendly Legal Shield and ID Shield representative, and I've got some exciting news for you. So, if you don't know me, I'll tell you a little bit about my past and kind of prepare you for what you're about to see. So, this is not a pitch about Legal Shield or ID Shield. This is about something different and exciting, and it's actually about a tool that I'm developing for myself to use in my business, and you may want to use this in your business as well. So, in my Legal Shield business, I have to reach out to a lot of people, like any other sales position. You have leads that are in different stages, and in order to make sales, you need to follow up with people. And if you try and just do that with a piece of paper or in your head, then you're not going to be very successful. And you need to use a CRM or a customer relationship manager. And I've used many different solutions over the years and never really quite found one that I liked. And I was a programmer in my past life. I used to do Lisp coding with AutoCAD, and eventually I went to work for Autodesk, and I was a C++ programmer. So I'm familiar with code, and I'm a bit of a techie. So I know a good piece of software when I see it, and usually when it's a bad piece of software, I'm frustrated. So I've been using spreadsheets to track all my contacts and follow-ups, and that gets kind of, to be a pain after a while. Because you have all these spreadsheets with different columns, and it's just a disorganized mess. So I've always wanted to create my own personal CRM tool that I could customize and make it behave exactly the way I wanted it to. So AI has come along, and I've been playing with AI because I'm also a photographer, videographer. So I play with AI a lot in my editing and my creation of photo and video products for my customers. And I've developed um, partial websites with AI, having it generate code for me. I've tried in the past to have it generate like an app for me, and it was kind of a disaster. But recently, just as a few days ago, um, X, or formerly known as Twitter, came out with their Grok 3. And I saw the announcement and I said, okay, let me play with Grok 3 and see how it is. So I've been very impressed with the coding capabilities of Grok 3. Now, I understand code when I look at it, but for me to sit down and hack out a CRM system, it would take a long time, right? Because I'd have to learn all the ins and outs of current day coding with Python and HTML and JavaScript and all these different tools. And that in itself, learning all that is like a full-time job. And I don't have time to do that. But in just a few hours of using Grok, I've been able to hack out a little CRM system that I'm calling Lead Plus. And actually, I asked Grok what I should name it after we developed it together, and it came up with that name. So everything that I'm about to show you was me talking with Grok and asking it to do coding for me. And of course, it makes a lot of mistakes too, but it fixes its mistakes. When you ask properly, it gives you the right result. So I'm really happy to show you this and invite you to become a user of this. If you would like to use my contact management system for yourself, then I will be offering it. probably for a small donation of my time spent developing it. So if you're interested after you see this, get in touch with me, and you can go to askwaynenow.com and schedule a time to chat with me, and we can talk about it. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Let me look. Yep, everything should be working. Okay, so this is the main page as of right now for Leads Plus. And right now, I just have a bunch of test data in there. My next feature that I'm going to implement is importing all of my spreadsheets with all my contacts, all my real contact data. But I wanted to kind of hash out the functionality before I got into that. So the import contacts does not work yet. Export contacts does. So I will export this test data and then manipulate my current spreadsheets to look like the exported CSV file, and then I'll be able to import it. So I have this button here which creates 60 test contacts. So let me delete the current contacts, and I will do that by going over here and just deleting this file, which has all the test. Alexa, stop. Alexa, do not disturb. I won't disturb you. Thank you. Isn't AI wonderful? Okay. So I'm also going to delete notes and reminders. And these are just plain CSV files. I want to make this very, um, you know, flexible with your data and with my data. So I'm going to delete those files so they do not exist anymore. And I'm going to rerun this code. So, and this is just running on my local machine. At this point, you need to have PHP installed and Flask installed, which is very simple to do on a Windows or Mac computer. So eventually, this add test users or test contacts won't be here. But for right now, I've got this button in there. So you would just normally just add a contact, or you would import your contacts. So I'm going to add 60 test contacts, and there we go. All those contacts have been added. You can see all the notifications here. Okay. So it's a verification. And then down below, it shows all the test contacts that have been added. So one of the features that I wanted to implement is as soon as you add a contact, I wanted a 3-day follow-up reminder to be set. So let's click on reminders. And over here, you can see each one of the 60 users that have been added has a 3-day reminder set. So today is 2/20. So the next follow-up reminder for this contact will be on 2/23. So if you go add a contact manually, then a reminder will be set in 3 days automatically. So that's a pretty handy feature. And then this view that you see right now will become a kind of graduated view of hot, warm, cool, and the contacts at the top will be like you need to contact them right now, you're overdue, that type of thing, and so forth. So it'll probably just be one page because you really don't need more than that. You just want to take care of your immediate follow-ups. And that's the biggest problem in sales is you lose track of who you need to follow up with, right? So I'm going to go back to my main list. And then this list right here at the moment, you can sort by last touch, name, or number of touches. So every time you follow up with someone, that's a touch, whether it's an email or a text message or in person. And you want to keep track of your touches because, as they say, it takes 7 to 12 touches before someone becomes a customer or even remembers your name. Okay. So this is an important feature here. So let me sort by last touch. Okay. And now it's sorting by touches. So I can change and there, doesn't look like this is working. Let me try and sort. Yeah. Okay. There it is. So, sort by name, right? And we can go descending. Okay. And then we can sort by, last touch. And now it's sorting by the date. And then I also have notes in here because before you follow up with someone, you want to make sure that you know what you talked about last time. So I have this little note feature here so I can immediately see what the last conversation note was. And then if you need to scroll through the pages, then I've got a next and previous button down here. And let's try and sort by touches again and see. Yeah, see now that's working. So my highest number of touches is now at the top, or I could sort it the other way and I could have my lowest number of touches. So these people need to be followed up with, or I can say I want to follow up with people that I've touched more. So I can sort by touches here. I've got the number of contacts up in the corner. I've got 60 contacts. I've also got a dark mode and a light mode. Personally, I like dark mode, but here's light mode and dark mode. So I will keep it on. And this also works in my other view. So let me show you that. So next to the contact, there's a view edit button. So now when I click on view edit, I get my main page for data entry. So here I've got a number of fields and these may change. This is just kind of some of the fields I had in my spreadsheet. So let's say I want to add a new note. I can say, um, met them at a networking event. And then if I want to update that right away, I can just update it right there. Okay, so now test user 9 has been updated successfully. Okay, and then down here you can see the notes. So I can expand this and I can see my last note was added here. So I put a date and time stamp on it and I can even edit it if I want. And I can say, met them at the chamber networking event and I can update that contact. Oh, look at that. I found a bug. It didn't update the note. So that's something I need to fix. And maybe I can show you how I can do that. We'll see. Um, Another important thing here is we want to be able to set a follow-up reminder. So maybe I want to follow up 3 days or 7 days or 14 days or whatever. You can set a date. So I can set a custom date. I can be like, oh, I want to follow up with them on the 26th, right? And I can add a reminder. So when I add a reminder, it goes over here into the reminders list. So let's go here to reminders. And that was test user 6, I believe. Uh, okay, test user 9. Here it is right here. So test user 9, I want to follow up on the 26th. And this is an annual reminder. So I need to work out that. This should say custom, not annual. Okay. So there's still a few little bugs here, but I'm working it out, every moment I can. So if I want to go back to this view, I can just go back to this view here. So the intention is this is your main page. And let's go ahead and add a new contact. So let's say maybe I don't need this contact anymore. I can delete it. So it gives me a confirmation because you never want to delete a contact without, being sure. So I'm going to say, yes, I want to delete it. And let's see, this is test user 9. So I'm going to delete test user 9. And now it takes me back to the main list page. Now let's say I want to go work with test you. Let's say I want to add a new contact. So I can add a contact from this page, or I can add a contact from this page. So let's add a new contact. And it doesn't look like that button's working. So let's go back to the main list and try add contact here. Okay, so this page is broken right now. So I hadn't tested this before I did this video. But basically what it would do, it would give me the same view as this, and all the fields would be kind of blank, right? So it would basically act like an update, but it would be an add new contact. So I need to fix this program here. So I'm trying to keep all my fields on one page because I don't want to have to scroll down to edit something. I want to keep all the fields on one page. So I've got some additional links here. What I'm probably going to do next is I'm probably going to add a tab feature. So like some of these fields aren't really relevant until I'm later on in the follow-up stage. So maybe I can have like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and each one of those can be a tab. So that's kind of the idea here. So let's try and fix a bug. All right. So let me pick something fairly simple here to fix. And let's see, what can I fix? Oh, let's go back over here to the update. So we had an update. So here are the notes, right? So when I add a new note, so let's figure out what's happening here. Here's the new note. And then I'm going to add the new note to test user 1. And then when I open up this, it said, here's the new note. So that part works. But when I update this note, here's the update. And then when I click on update contact, it should update that note. It didn't. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up, let's see. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use Grok. So this is Grok. So here's all my history. I've got pages and pages of history. So here I'm going to say at the bottom, I'm going to say when editing an existing note on the contact view edit page and clicking on update contact, the existing note, no, the updated note is not saved. Can you fix this error? Okay, and I'm going to submit it. So Grok's going to think a little bit. And then hopefully it'll come back and it'll give me some updated code. So depending on how long this takes, I may edit out this wait time. So while that's thinking, let me show you some other features. So right now I've got a drop down list for contact type, and there's Grok, it's coming back. I've got a drop down list for the source type, and these fields aren't populated yet. So I'm going to have fields with defaults, and then I'll have I'll have drop down lists with options. The date fields will all have a calendar, so you can just pick and choose the date you want. And sometimes what I find is I have an email that when I send an email to, it's bad. But I don't want to delete that email, but I don't want an email to be in the email field because I don't want to keep on sending emails to bad email addresses. So I created this move to bad feature. So when I click on this, it just removes the email from the email section and then puts it in bad email. So later, if I say export an email list from my contact manager, it won't export an email for this contact because there is none. But I don't want to delete that email, right? So this is a very custom feature of how I like to work. And yeah, this is just going to have new features added to it all the time. Anytime I run into something that I need a new feature for, then I'm going to add it. And with Grok, it makes it super simple. As you can see over here, it's generating all this code. So we're going to start looking at what it's generated so far. So over here, let's go to the top. So this is why you kind of need to understand coding or programming because it's like talking to a programmer. So it says, thanks for reporting the issue when editing existing notes, not saving in Lead Plus. Um, so it analyzed the updates and it says, hey, it understands me and what's happening. So it analyzed the problem and it's saying, here's part of the problem. Okay. And then um, it tells me the expected behavior that I stated. And then it says, here's the fix. Update these files with this information. So it gave me the updated code. So I just have to copy this code. And then I have to go to my routes.py, which is one of my program files. So I'm going to go over here to routes.py and I'm going to select this whole piece of code and I'm going to paste in the new code, right? And I'm going to save it. So technically, that error should be fixed now, right? So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to the next section and it says update the models.py. Add a new note, add a new update notes method to CRM to handle note updates. Okay. So obviously it didn't have that. So I'm going to say copy and I'm going to go over to my code and go to models. Where's my models? Right there. And I'm going to copy and paste that code right in there. And then I'm going to go down to the next section. and it says you need to update contact view HTML. So I'm going to copy this code and then I'm going to my contact view HTML and I'm going to paste that in there. And then I'm going to go down and it just kind of summarizes the steps that I need to take, which I already took those. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the new code. So this is my command window here, and this is basically how you'd run the app on your local machine like I am. So I'm going to cancel the current running code, and now I'm just here at my prompt and my folder called CRM app, and I'm going to run the command. So it's a Python app. So I'm just going to say python app.py, and I'm going to run it. So now the server is running on my local machine, and I can go back over here and I can do a refresh. Okay. So now I've refreshed that page, and we'll be able to see kind of what's happening over here in this code window or in the command window. So let's try adding a note to user one again. So let's say this is a new test note and update. Okay. And then we'll go down here and it says, this is a new test note. So that worked. So now I'm going to say updated note and I'm going to hit update. And then I'll go here. Hey, look at that. So now this functionality works properly. So I didn't need to write any code. I just needed to copy and paste the code that Grok created. And I just had to explain the situation good enough for Grok to use its AI intelligence and knowledge of coding to make changes to the code. So that is pretty fabulous. So it's like having an expert programmer at your fingertips to develop whatever code you want. So a CRM is an essential tool for me. So I'm pretty excited. So let me stop sharing because that's basically all I have to share at this point. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm pretty excited about it. Every chance I get, I kind of work on it a little bit. It's not quite in production mode yet. It's still in development mode for sure. But if you have an interest in using my program called Lead Plus, that's what it's called right now. But I think that's a good name. Lead Pulse, sorry, not Lead Plus. It could be Lead Plus, but Lead Pulse is a good name because it gives it lets you take the pulse of your leads that you have. So, um, if you have an interest in possibly using this and helping me develop it, um, maybe for a small donation, um, then get in touch with me at askwaynenow.com and we can chat. All right. Thanks for watching.